So in this Sky Sports interview, which they uploaded to their YouTube channel today, Sky Sports Boxing, Anthony Joshua comes out and says that when he beats Andy Ruiz in the rematch, he wants everybody to bow to his feet. And of course, some people are asking the question, what happened to stay humble? In fact, the interviewer himself pretty much asked that question. What happened to stay humble? Where's this arrogance coming from? Some people have gone even further and said that this is a disgusting and delusional attitude from Anthony Joshua. You know, how can he be saying that, you know, people should bow to his feet and this, that, and the other? This is terrible. Well, here's my take on it. The whole stay humble business was just a marketing gimmick for Anthony Joshua. That's all it ever was. I've been saying this for months or even years. Of course, it's some fakery, some marketing thing. Obviously. Anthony Joshua is a fighter. Have you not seen him fight Dylan White? Have you not seen him fight, Dominic Brazil, Charles Martin, Eric Molina, Klitschko, Povetkin? He is a vicious man inside. Certainly when he was coming up, all the way up to the Klitschko fight, you saw in many of his fights him showboating and goading the opponents when he was beating them up and hurting them. He's got a vicious streak inside of him. I saw somebody online saying that it's terrible that AJ's got this kind of attitude. What he should be saying is humbling himself and admitting that Andy Ruiz just outclassed him in the first fight. Never have I heard something so outrageously stupid as that. That AJ should just admit Andy Ruiz outclassed. Oh, are you dumb? What brand of crack are you smoking? Huh? He's going into an immediate rematch with a guy who just knocked him out. And you think it's a good thing psychologically for him to say he outclassed me? Which is basically admitting to yourself and others that he's a class above me. The stupidity of some people is mind-blowing. Fighters have to put themselves in a particular mind state where they believe they're superior to their opponent. You can't put yourself in that mind state if you're telling yourself and others, he outclassed me. No, that's not what you do. You're going to fight the guy again. You have to gear yourself up. You have to be, battle ready in your brain. I'm better than this guy. I'm superior to this guy. It was a bad day at the office. Yeah, he caught me with a shot. I'm not going to make the same mistakes, but ultimately I'm the man and I'm going to beat this guy. You don't go in there thinking, well, he outclassed me and he's a more classy, better fighter. Not if you're going in there with if it's like the end of your career or something, or if you're not going to fight the guy again, go ahead and say that. But if you're going to fight an immediate rematch with the guy, you have to go in there as confident as possible. You can't be, oh, he outclassed me, fair play. No. That's not a champion's mentality. That's not how you come back and win a rematch like this. Do you think Lennox Lewis, when he got knocked out by Hasim Ratman, said, oh, he outclassed me. Oh, he's better than me. No. He said it was a lucky punch. And I'm not saying it was a lucky punch, all right? Fighters tell themselves certain things. But he told himself it was a lucky punch. He won't be able to do it again. I let him get one over on me when I'm really a much better fighter. Lewis was always an arrogant guy. But that arrogance allowed him to be as great as he turned out to be. So sometimes, to a layman, to somebody who isn't a championship level fighter, they can see some of the things that these fighters come out with and say, oh, that's arrogant. Well, damn right it's arrogant, because to be a championship level fighter, you can't have the same mentality as the average Joe on the street. This is something Deontay Wilder talks about, and I agree with him. You can't have this. See, people look at these fighters and they think that the mentality of the fighter is supposed to be like Joe or John from down the pub. No. The mentality is very different to you, very different to the silly little amateur boxers or crap pro boxers that you might have known. These are championship elite level fighters, heavyweights, in a brutal game. Okay, their mentality has to be brutal. Their mentality almost has to be, mega maniacal to some extent in certain circumstances when they're looking at their opponent. They believe they're superior to the man they're going to fight. Do you understand? You don't rest on your laurels. You prepare for whatever your opponent has. You know he's going to come try to take your head off. But ultimately, deep down in your soul, you need to believe that you're superior to this man. And that is a manifestation of what AJ said, I'm better than this guy. People need to bow to my... It's that megamaniacal streak that he has in him is coming out. Does he really believe it? Or is he trying to talk himself confident? Who knows? Fighters do sometimes talk themselves confident. Muhammad Ali, when he fought Sonny Liston, at one stage he admitted he basically talked himself confident against Liston. He convinced himself by, I'm the greatest, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other. He's short, he's ugly and all this kind of stuff. He was saying all this stuff to diminish the threat of Liston in his own mind and build his own confidence. You understand? So fighters do these things. Don't get offended when a guy is going into battle with an opponent and he's saying certain things about him. If it's a situation where he's talking trash about a fighter and he won't fight him, be as critical as you want. But when he's going into battle with a guy and he's talking trash about him, don't get offended by that. That's the psychological process that some fighters go through. They can appear megamaniacal. They can appear dismissive. It's how they get themselves prepared. Okay, like with Jarrell Miller. When he was supposed to fight Joshua, you didn't see me saying, oh, Miller shouldn't be talking smack about Joshua. No, I was saying this is great. Not only from an entertainment standpoint, the stuff Miller was saying about AJ, calling him G-string Joshua and you're sweet and this, that, and the other, but he was mentally preparing himself for battle. That's what he was doing. Same with Tyson Fury when he fought Klitschko. A lot of people didn't like the stuff he was saying about Klitschko. I loved it. I thought this is what he needs to do against Klitschko. You need to put yourself in that position where you think mentally, I'm superior to this guy. I'm not underestimating him. I'm going to, be careful about all his strengths, but I believe I'm superior. It is what it is. So people understand the mentality of a top level elite heavyweight boxer is not the same as the average Joe on the street. Don't expect it to be. It's ridiculous to expect it to be when they're going into battle. All right? or even in general, because Wilder says some crazy stuff, which a lot of people don't like. And I'm not saying it's nice. Some of the stuff that Wilder says by way of what he wants to do to opponents. And obviously we have a lot of tragedies in boxing lately. And we have doctors, referees, cornermen, etc., and all sorts of other people who are there to try and minimize or prevent tragedies from happening in boxing. But when it comes to Deontay Wilder's mentality, the stuff he's saying he wants to do, he wouldn't be the dynamic puncher that he'd still hit hard, but he wouldn't hit quite as hard. He wouldn't be quite as spiteful if he didn't have these extremely malevolent intentions towards his opponent. He wouldn't quite be what he is. Mike Tyson wouldn't quite be what he was if he didn't have similar deeply malevolent intent towards his opponent. Yeah, we have certain, again, officials and we have a certain apparatus in place to prevent or try and reduce the number of serious injuries that do happen. But understand the fighters who actually partake in these bouts, some of them have got vicious mentalities. And they feel that's necessary for them. Mike Tyson was a little guy compared to his opponents. So in his mind, he's a pressure fighter, he's a little guy. He has to be so vicious. He has to be so ruthless. He has to just be so much more savage than his opponent to be able to overcome these big guys. It's not just about all the technique that Tyson had. His mentality had to be extreme in order to succeed. That's what he felt. Same with Deontay Wilder. Wilder, he's not, short like Mike Tyson, but he's fairly light in terms of his body. And he's not as skilled as some of the other fighters out there. His technique is not as polished, right? But one thing he can do is he can punch. And one thing he's vicious. He needs to be vicious. Do you understand? If he wasn't as vicious as he is, probably wouldn't be as good as he is. He needs to be vicious. Don't expect Wilder's... Yes, it's distasteful, the stuff that Wilder comes out with regards to what he wants to do to an opponent. Very distasteful. But you have to understand that this is how he prepares himself in this environment, by making himself that extreme mentally. Yeah? He's never going to be as polished as a Tyson Fury. But in his mind, he's like, okay, I'm not going to be that polished, but I'm going to be 10 times as vicious. It is what it is. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's happening. I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week. covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.